Something I am celebrating in 2021 is college. I celebrated my birthday on campus for the first time ever. And one lesson that I learned from God in 2021 is that even though I am completely by myself on campus, God will still be there to protect me during this horrible COVID-19 pandemic. One thing I'm asking God for in 2022 is to help me get a better acting experience in college so that when I grow up, I hope to be a world famous actor.
Good afternoon. One thing I want to celebrate from 2021 was that I was able to graduate high school in the midst of a pandemic. I'm beyond grateful for my family, friends, teachers, and God, most importantly, for supporting me through all the ups and downs. After graduation, oh, okay, got it. Okay, sorry, I'm too short. Anyways, after graduating high school, I found myself to deepen my relationships with my friends and family, as well as form new ones. And what I learned personally this year was to find happiness in the littlest moments in life, to stay present and mindful, and to not have high expectations. I've always had the mindset that if I accomplish a certain goal or have a certain thing, that I'll suddenly become happy. When this isn't the case, I found that the happiest days I have had the last year were in the big events I have had, such as graduating high school, becoming a legal adult, or getting my first job, which are considered milestones in one's life. But they were through the unexpected and smallest occurrences that I would experience in my day to day life, such as the small interactions I had with strangers, where we could talk about the randomest things we could relate to. For example, I was at a record store the other week and bonded with the two employees working there over our love for Trader Joe's, and which I became good friends with them. And they were in the way the sky looked every 5 p.m. last summer during my drive back home from work, where I would see the golden California sunset and really admire God's creation. The time I would spend with my friends, whether it's getting coffee or just driving around our hometown, and in making someone's day but just by giving them a compliment or just showing kindness and compassion towards them that they may not have experienced in a while. I've learned especially that my actions can have an impact on people's lives just by showing kindness and grace towards them. And one thing I would ask God for this year is for good mental and physical health, wisdom, and guidance on what I want to major in. Thank you.
Hello, church family. For my testimonial today, I will be going over 3 key points: what I'm thankful for in 2021, a lesson I learned from God in 2021, and something I will ask God for in 2022. Something I am thankful for in 2021 was meeting new people over the year. Despite the hardships of COVID, social distancing, the requirement of masks, having trouble communicating, still having to have mask on, while we eat to stay safe, and the occasional quarantine, I was still able to make new friends. In the second semester of my ninth grade year, while we were in online school, there was this girl in my class where she tried to reach out by putting her school ID number in the Google chat. Obviously, because we were online, we weren't able to have a normal conversation without everyone hearing us. So I also put my ID number in the chat so that we can talk after school's over. After school, I checked my email, and there were 2 other people that wanted to connect because they saw my ID number. They also wanted to reach out, but they didn't want the entire class to know their ID number. So I'm thankful that even during online classes, I was still able to make some friends. God has taught me many things over my life. The year of 2021 was rough, but God has taught me to stay strong and to have hope and trust in Him. And everything will be fine in the end. This one time, I needed to use the restroom after school. And that day, I had a rehearsal that started 15 minutes after school ended. I didn't have that much time, so I went to the nearest restroom, and it was locked. Weird. Went to the science building restroom, also locked. Went to the gym restroom, also very much locked. At this point, I have 7 minutes, and I really had to go. I was clenching on for dear life. If I couldn't go now, I would be holding in for rehearsal, and I knew I couldn't do that. I prayed to God as I walked over to check the last nearest restroom, and I prayed that it would be open. Sadly, it wasn't. At that point, I thought God had failed me, and that I was going to poop during rehearsal, and all my friends would laugh at me. As I was walking defeatedly to rehearsal, until I saw a teacher who went out of the staff restroom, and I asked if I could use it. He said, sure, but make it quick. Usually no students were allowed in the staff restroom, but he only let me in because he mentioned he was feeling nice that day. Last year, with everything going on around in the world in 2021, I saw myself straying from God. Personally, with all the things going on, like trying not to catch COVID, trying to keep all of my grades off, it was kind of too much for me, especially with the COVID situation. But something I'm looking forward to and wanting to do is build closer relationships with family, friends, and God. Trying to strengthen my growing connection through the years. In 2022, I want to do this so I have a network of people I can count on, whether I'm lonely or in need of help. I'll close out with a Bible scripture. John 15, verses 12 to 17. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command: love each other.
Hello. As you can tell, Ate Jillian gave us like a prompt, and I'm going to also follow that. So whatever EJ's key points are, they're also my key points. Anyways, to be honest, 2021 felt like a very long year. And I honestly don't remember everything that happened there. I don't remember like 90% of what happened. It seemed like a blur. But as I tried to reflect on what happened last year, I realized that I had completely forgotten that I had graduated high school and had entered college. I'm like a college student now. So I think that is something that I am celebrating in 2021 that I celebrated last year. And it's really weird for me that I forgot, because I remember being very stressed about college applications and stressing what major I wanted to go into, which did nothing for me because I ended up going to a community college anyway. So all that stress for nothing. I also celebrated that I was able to see my friends safely. We went to the beach outside, yes, and we also had fried chicken together. And I also was able to spend Thanksgiving over my grandpa's house, and got to see people that I usually wasn't able to see over like a year and a half. I also got my driver's license last month, and also celebrated my birthday. I think that is also something I should celebrate. But I am scared of driving, and I celebrate my birthday by going to Barnes & Nobles and spending some money there, a lot of it. But yes, also the first semester of college was also gladly online. In person. I'm so nervous. Okay. And because I know that from senior year was a whole year online, I do not do very well online, and nothing sticks in here. So a lesson I learned in 2021 was being at peace. I overthink a lot. Before I make a decision, while I make the decision, and after I make a decision for years on end. And there are always these questions of, what if this happens? What if that happens? And my what if questions tend to come true sometimes. And it's really bad for me because it just proves me right that if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. So the first semester of college during the summer, I was very doubtful that the semester would be in person. So I signed up for classes that would best suit being online. But that didn't happen, and I was able to have it in person, as I mentioned before. the first few weeks of being in person was really hard for me. As you know, I overthink, and I was very self-conscious over the littlest things. Do I smell bad? Can people smell me despite the 6 feet difference? Like, how do you befriend someone? I've lost all my social energy, social cues and everything, and I was like, how do you start a conversation with someone? What are the safe topics to talk about? So much has happened. Like, everyone has an opinion now, and I'm like scared to like trigger someone. Like, I don't know what to say. But luckily, God heard and saw my dilemma, so he was able to give me and wash me over with peace and to soothe my anxieties. So on a random Thursday on October, I was like, man, I'm really going to meet friends with someone today. And God was able to wash away my thoughts and anxiety. And I just went up to someone that I wanted to be friends with for a while and was like, hey, want to be friends? And they said yes. So I know that if you're in kindergarten and you just ask someone to be friends with you, it also works in college. I've tested that. And from that, we found out that we had similar interests, and then 2 other people joined our little group, and we all had the same interest, and it was really nice. At first, I was really scared of the other 2 people because I wasn't sure if we would get along, because they seemed to get along more with the other person than with me. But it all worked out in the end, and I'm really glad that God was able to wash away my thoughts, and that despite me thinking that I don't belong in this group, that I do, and that he's there with me, God's with me, and he will be with me every step of the way. So, after reflecting on the things that were happening in 2021, I tried to think of things I want to look forward towards this year, 2022. But if I'm being honest, I'm just hoping that 2022 isn't as bad as 2021 or 2020. Those 2 years have set the bar really low for me. So I'm just hoping that it just turns out better, or at least like a little bit. But I know that personally here and from now on, I want to get better at listening to God. As someone who's like considered an adult, but I'm not really an adult, I have to figure out who I am, where I want to work, who I am, where I stand in society, what I want to do in life. And there are just so many varieties of paths that I can take that can change who I am. But I know that in Christ that I am the daughter of God. Yeah. And adulting just seems so rough to me. Like, I like living for free under my parents' roofs. I don't have to think about taxes or food. And like, you need food and water to survive. I think that kind of sucks. But, and there's so much I have to discover, like voting, and it's all coming crashing on me. And I have responsibilities now from the government. They don't even know who I am. They just know me as a number. So, but but I know God knows me from the number of hairs on my head, and that I actually mean something to him. So I hope that I'll be able to listen more to him and that my anxious thoughts will go away. Because I know that I will be doing great things through him. Thank you. Thank you.
One thing I'm celebrating from 2021 is my relationship with my friends. I met my friend group in band class and we bonded over the love for music. We then decided we all wanted to start a band together, so we did. We meet up almost every weekend to make some smooth songs. And we all have different music tastes. For example, our drummer's into heavy metal and rock music, while our guitarist is into alternative and indie music. We all use our different tastes and talents to cultivate some amazing songs. I'm thankful that God has put my friends in my life because I get to share my passion for music with them. One lesson I've learned from God in 2021 is to keep having faith and trust. Whenever I would open up social media, there's always something horrific happening, whether it's war, COVID cases going up, or natural disasters. So I start to question God. Why are you letting these things happen? One verse that helped me strengthen my faith and trust is in Proverbs 3, verses 5 to 6. It reads, Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. I shouldn't be questioning God because his knowledge is greater than anyone. He is the Alpha and Omega, first and the last. Another verse that strengthens my faith even more is in Isaiah 55, verses 8 to 9. It reads, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Lastly, one thing I'm asking for God in 2022 is for good health and knowledge. I pray to God that he'll boost my immune system throughout this year and to also help me lose weight because since the pandemic started, I've been trying and as you can see, it's not working out. So I need some pray for that. And lastly, I pray for God that he'll direct me to make the right decisions during my last semester of high school and my first semester in college. I'm praying for God for good health and knowledge because I want to become the best version of myself and to improve myself from last year. And I know that God is capable of accomplishing these things.